Now then, let's see if anybody can see us, mother fluffers. Let's see if anybody can see us, and hopefully, in just a moment, somebody will give us a
It's kind
shout
of funny,
out.
Marcio. You look like you're photobombing the twin brother and his wife. Like you're the guy trying to get in between.
Yeah, he does.
And his wife, you're photobombing both of them, having a good moment, and you're clean shaven here. And here in the middle, you got a little bit of beard, so you look like it's like your younger brother. Like
it is as well. Yeah, it is. We've got an advert come on, so hopefully any second somebody should give us a shout out. We're on an advert at the moment. Let's have a look. And in a minute, if anybody can see us out there, guys, give me a shout so I know we're on. And at the moment, we got Marcio, we got Rob, but am I sure we're live yet? Am I fluff? Let's have a look. Ash, Alaman, thumbs up. Does that mean you can see me, Ash? Can everybody hear us out there? If everybody can hear us, just hit some likes for us, guys. Let us know. And we got, King Garbiner. King Gaben's just come in. Hello, guys. Love you guys. Thanks, mate. Love you too. Eyes and ears, Neil. You're on. Yes, you are live. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on. It looks like we're on, guys. Friggin' hell. We're getting good at this, eh? What about it? So, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us in the chat. We'll wait till we build up a few peeps on here. But just to let everybody know, it's Q&A with Marcio, the Phenom, Barboza. And we said special guest, and we brought you special guest, Rob Vigent Jr. in the mother fluffing house as well, guys. So, some big news attached to that. And it should be a fun night, guys. We'll try and get through as many questions as we can. I'll try and keep my eye on the chat best I can. And but first of all, Marcio, welcome to the show, brother.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And you've just started your own YouTube channel, haven't you, mate? You've just got launched.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. My oldest son started this YouTube channel, but I never had time to put content there. No, and then this, like a few months ago or 2-3 months ago, when the snow hit bad over here, I couldn't work for 2 weeks. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me start putting some content there and see how it goes. And then it's pretty cool, right? You interact with a lot of people, you know. It
is. It's good talking about something. I mean, look at Rob's. And firstly, Rob, welcome to the show again, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Always fun.
He's killing it, Marcio. Him and Matt are like setting the bar, you know? Setting the bar right there.
All I got to do is get a match with the good European and my shit will spike, right? That's what the ticket, I guess.
Mate, we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that. And Salah, thanks, mate. Looking sharp, Neil. See, I'm getting a what about that, you see? You've got the old bad mother fluffer hoodie
You know what I like about that? That's got like a 90s throwback B-boy vibe to it.
Yeah, it has. It's got
B-boys, did you call them B-boys in Britain or Europe or wherever you are? Did you call them B-boys? The guys that used to put the cardboard down and stick on their heads and stuff?
That's the kiddies, mate. I've done a bit of that myself. Well, you know.
You did?
Hey, pre-seal. Before I turned into a manatee, so I could do with the old spinning on my tits. I could do a bit. I used to get out there.
I would rock that shirt. Everything so far. I'm not just trying to get free clothes. I'm a fan.
It's pretty cool.
Marcio, I need to get you one over, mate. Well, we got the clothing line. I'll fire you one over, son. After this, you just email me back your address. I've got your ass. I'll tell you. How many people we got in here at the moment? I think we've got about 39 people in the chat. We'll wait to build up a little bit, guys. Firstly, all you guys in the chat, thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to bust out a few little bits of rumours for people to let them get going. First of all, Rob Vigent Jr. has been talking a great deal about possibly getting a match with the European. Well, I think we've talked about it twice on here previously, Rob. And I can tell you that Sasho has responded, and his response is positive. So Sasho Andrea, Rob Vigent Jr. is looking like a go.
Nice.
If the international travel restrictions get let down, and we can get you over to the Arnold Classic Europe in October 1st to October 3rd, it is on.
Nice.
Exclusive.
I'm going to come into Europe grabbing the legs of an American bald eagle dressed like Apollo Creed, thinking coming to America.
Yeah. living in America with the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come dancing in.
It's got to be a big American eagle, but I'll find one.
So we're going to start. Quick question for Marcio. Like, how do you see a match with Sasho and Rob going, Marcio? I mean, obviously you've pulled an enormous amount in Europe.
Yes, I think it's very exciting. I mean, it's finally. I'm always interested in see Rob, you know, banging with the Europeans. I don't know if it's 90 kilos, 95 kilos, whatever it is. I think Rob can do really, really good. His potential, it's very high. And I mean, Sasho has been winning, you know, so many WAFs and Europeans. He's one of the top guys for quite a while. Interesting too, that I saw his last match was very cool with Irakli, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, he looked very comfortable with Irakli, so that tells you something.
Well, you could see, couldn't you, early when he lost the first match early, but there was not an air of panic about him, was there? There was just nothing.
No.
You know, he lost the first one, and it was like
I don't know. Maybe he didn't know what to expect, and then he woke up.
How do you compare? I mean, you've pulled with Rob, you've pulled with a lot of the top European lads. Sort of break down where you would see Rob's major advantage in that kind of scenario. Is he stronger in a number of areas? What did you find most difficult when you pulled with Rob?
I think Rob has an interesting character. He's a guy built for the sport. He got a great hand. He got great containment. Wrist and hand are amazing. Arms are very, very strong. He can bang in a hook, top row, whatever he wants to do. The thing is, arm to arm between him and Sasho, for example, I think is pretty close.
Yep.
Don't know who can win, but Rob needs to take advantage of, you know, his big hand and wrist. You know, he got more tools in the box, so he need to make a plan and know how to use it. I think he can do very well.
Yes.
If he got a good game plan.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just to we're getting a lot of feedback in the chat here, and I'm gonna do a Rob Vigent Jr. on everybody. I'm gonna go out and spit a few truths. Okay, so this is it, guys. Right, a lot of comments in there talking about they want to see Rob versus Zoloff. Okay,
I'd like to see that too.
Well, I do. We want to see that match, Zoloff, if you're in Eastern Europe or Latvia. But basically, I want to just give a little bit of background on that. When that whole thing came out, right? So when Engin went online and put the thing out about Zoloff and Rob, we were already in discussion about Rob versus Sasho. So that ship had sailed. We were already discussing it. I'd spoken to Engin about a week beforehand to get the number of Bojidar, to give me Sasho's number so we could start discussion on that. And Engin said at the time, why do you want the number? What are you after? And I said, oh, we're trying to set up Rob and Sasho for the Arnold Classic Europe. He said, we would have liked to do it earlier at a Giants Live, but unfortunately Rob's dates were restrictive. Just a sip of the old clear nectar, ladies and gents, what's keep me healthy. You know, if you want to see it from the side on, it's where the magic happens, motherfuckers. So if you want to know why, that's it there. I've been learning some stuff from Devon Larratt, and he's trying to get fat. So I'm giving him a crash course in how to be a fat bastard, as I've been one for quite a while now. But back to the original script. Yeah, we'd already spoken about the potential of doing that in the summer. Obviously, travel restrictions in place there meant that that's not possible. The other thing really was as well that Rob works at a resort. So for anybody out there who was thinking that he may be ducking a match, absolutely, categorically assure you that ain't the case. Rob was very happy to pull anybody, basically. He said, yeah, I'm up for it. Let me know. Anybody you want. I like Sasho. And I'll tell you why. Matchmaking is an art form, guys. You know, it really is. If you look at guys and you put just a big name versus a big name, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a good match. You have to look at the blend of that. And we've been doing this a very long time and had a lot of success with it. So stylistically, I really like Sasho versus Rob. The other thing is there that Sasho's got an incredible pedigree and he pulls a certain style. And a lot of people over a number of years had asked about that. That's a match that we wanted. That's the match that we went for. We'd already opened dialogue with Sasho. Sasho was in. And he was like, yeah, if the travel restrictions give out, then I'm good to go. So I spoke to Rob. Rob jumped at it immediately. As soon as the Ryan Bowen thing fell through, he was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's get a big European name. And that's what we did. Is that how it went down in your recollection, Rob?
Yeah, 100%. And the way I see it is the two guys on the top of that mountain of all the legendary Europeans. Well, you have Rustam that moved on to a heavier weight. You have, which I've actually seen Sasho beat Ongarbayev. So the guys at the top of the mountain are Sasho and Zoloev. So, I mean, if I could take a guy who's arguably the best in the world or Europe, or at least number two, that's a big tackling, right? That's a big way to tackle it. So that's what I wanted. I didn't necessarily have prejudice on who. I just gave you like my top five, which I'll say again were like Zoloev, Rustam, Prudnik, who moved on in weight, Krasi, and Sasho. Yep. And then I narrowed it down to like three because Sasho's been winning everything. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly how it went down, that we were already in talks before the Zoloev match. But I saw Sasho and Zoloev as equal people to go against, just different attributes.
Yeah, different styles.
And I think he's as dangerous because look at Sasho's. Somebody informed me that was more educated than me that Sasho has like a 7-9 record against Prudnik. He's got like a huge winning record against him. So that's huge. I mean, to me, a guy, I'm supposed to be a guy who can't compete in Europe. Yep. Right? I'm just a lowly American hiding at the WAL. So if I go over there and pull not only a good European, one of the most successful Europeans in the past many years, I mean, I think that says a good something.
It definitely does, mate. Just saying hello to a few guys in the chats, Etienne. Much love from Germany. Much support from Germany. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. And all you guys in the chat, keep your questions coming, guys. We'll get to them. And I wanted to go over to Marcio as well. Marcio, obviously, a lot of conversation recently about differences between European arm wrestlers, American arm wrestlers, American arm wrestling, European arm wrestling. You're one of the, I would say, best people to comment on that in the world. I mean, you've pulled against the top Europeans for a great deal of your career in the WAF. Since going into the Supermatch format, you've faced the likes of Krasimir Kostadinov in Supermatch and were successful. You've also faced, obviously, the top United States arm wrestlers as well. So you've faced the likes of Hutchings, Brozink many times. Just give us a bit of a breakdown on how you see it, mate. European arm wrestling versus United States of America.
I think we've been, it's funny because when I first came to the United States, for me, this is the place to be for, you know, to get your level up. Because the problem is that it's still the same guys are still banging at the high level. Like just Brozink that just retired, you know, not too long ago. But in Europe, the number has grown. Like I think today we have more killers than before. There's a bunch of guys. I mean, if I compare with United States today, Europe it's ahead. But if I can bring the same guys from, let's say, a decade ago, they're pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, you started your career as a middleweight, Marcio, didn't you? The first time I think I recall seeing you, mate, I think was actually Brazil. And you won the title there. And was it 85 kilos? I want to say 85.
Yeah, so 85 kilos. I started my first contact with arm wrestling, my first ever competition nationally. It was 75 kilos. I was 18 to 18.
Jesus.
75, and then move on to 80 kilos, 85. I mean, I moved to 85, weighing 81, 82. I just didn't want to lose weight. But
that's ridiculous because you're looking at you when you were in Brazil at 85. I've had hard-ons with more fat.
I train I trained my butt off to get like really. I was pulling over there 85, weighing 83 with clothes on, but I really trained. I actually trained too much. I trained up to 3 days after before the competition. I was so crazy about it. Like I came to United States before the same year just to compete at Yukon Jack. They invited me, but I had no experience in any high level competition. I ended up losing. I don't know if I was top 10 or something, but it was in the finals. So
was that 95, mate?
Yes, 1995. I was
in
like
New York,
83, 84 kilos. I have a couple wars with Gart Carson from Canada.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Paul Walter or I don't know who was it from America. I think I won only one match that day, but it was like quality tournament. It was my first.
Yeah.
And then I got motivated after that because WAF was gonna be in Brazil. So I got motivated for words. That was my intention anyways.
How long had you been pulling at that point, mate?
I was 95. I started 91, but nationally, that was my first, actually 94. 94 was my first international competition, but it was amateur level. I went to California. Remember the Bruce Wayne used to hold, used to be a host for the international or how they call world amateur competition.
Okay, yeah.
Bruce Wayne. Is that correct, the name? Bruce Wayne?
Yes. Yeah. The guy from Over the Top.
Yes, correct.
Drank the oil, ate the cigars.
Good
Everyone's guy.
A good dude.
Yeah, in 94. So it was my first time. I was 20 or 21. So I went there just to have an exposure to international competition. But and they were saying it's too tough, but I ended up winning everything, even overalls. And even that, I remember Bruce Wayne saying like I could, if I was staying in the US, I could be at that. I remember the guys from my own team laughing at me because I won the whole thing. And then he say he can be at the professional level. I can see he can be at the close level to John Brzezinski. And everybody was laughing. It was like, I don't even know who's John Brzezinski. I mean, it was an amateur competition, but the way I went through everybody, they were like a little amazed. And
and also at that time, there wasn't the same, you couldn't just jump on YouTube and watch hours of footage of these guys. If you weren't around, then you're not going to, if you weren't touring the US or had actually come across John, it's unlikely you would know who he was, particularly if you're just starting out. I had a moment on here taking the piss, I think, but he just said, "Who's Sasho?" Preps for Life Zed said, "Who's Sasho?" Yeah, I think he probably knows who Sasho is really, but he's having a bit of fun with it. We just had a super chat in here. Manes Cave Woodworking. Friggin' love that. Here we go. Prime Levan versus Prime Dennis. And he says, "Tell RVJ to send me some vegan donuts, yo." Do you do vegan donuts, mate?
Vegan donuts are for people who need to eat salads. People ask about gluten-free and all that stuff. Don't even come to my cart asking for anything gluten-free, sugar-free, whatever. I'm selling the dream. I'm not selling to a waistline.
You're selling the dream.
You're getting everything. Everything's included.
Yeah. Take it.
Another question here for Rob, actually. It says, does anybody know Rob's record against Toddzilla? I think it's pretty balanced, isn't it?
Yeah, it's close. And when people were breaking my balls about like, well, the last year you guys pulled, I'm like, well, actually, in all sports, records count. And in 2016, our record was 3-2. So he did go on to win the finals, which I will say that the structure kind of crushed me because when I had pinned him in the Vegas, I was running so hot, I think I would have smashed Dave Chafee and Michael Todd back to back. But then they took a 4-hour break. And when you leave a devil up to his own devices, I kind of did whatever I did. But we finished 2016 3-2. And that was the last year we competed. So everything that happened beforehand, you can't talk about years and years and years. 2016 is the last year we were competitive. I pinned him 3 times. He pinned me twice. Now, in the world of super matches, that's pretty, That says a lot.
Yeah, we got a question here, Afui, in the chat, just saying, why isn't the rematch between Rob and Todd Hutchings happening now, as there's no travel restrictions there? Well, to be perfectly honest, mate, there was some stuff in the works potentially for a match at around 95 to 100 kilos in the WAL. There were talks about that, and that could have gone ahead. One thing I will say, though, is that both these guys have differing aspirations. At that time, Rob was actually slated to pull an exhibition match left-handed with Eddie Hall. And the other match that was slated that was going ahead there, so he already had one in the can, was going to be Todd Zilla and Ryan Espy. So
They already pulled.
Didn't
they already pull?
No, Todd and Ryan.
Oh, it was Todd and Jerry pulled.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That was slated though. They were looking to pull each other. So
he would have beat him.
Did you have a match lined up as well, Marcio? Had Jamie been in touch with you? Did you have anything in the can as well? I kind of think you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Looking at you and Hermes. I remember you and Hermes was.
Yeah, it was supposed to be me and Hermes before I got injured. I got some nasty elbow pain after my match with Krasi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I trained. I don't know if you can say you train too much. I trained a lot because I didn't want to lose. Like my previous year, it was a disaster for me, and I don't like to lose in front of my kids, and I want to inspire them, not get them frustrated. So I trained hard 6 months, and I trained even up to 4 days. Believe it or not, I don't know how you guys take the rest, Rob, or yourself when you used to pull, Neil, but I took only 4 days off. But I took 2 days off because I had to work. So, and I was concerned because when your arms are relaxed, you look at your arms, they're more relaxed.
Sure.
And when they're not completely, we're like, oh my God, I should take a couple more days, or you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I was concerned a little bit. I was like, this has to go down a little bit. And I was concerned, but I actually trained very, very hard. Like I'm not losing. Even though I lost the first match, Krasi is very crafty. He's very technical.
Yeah,
I remember watching him close at Zalotti. He's very good at hooking people at top row. Like nobody. Like I think he's
an all-time great. I mean, I put him up there. He's an all-time great. Now, regardless of the circumstances, he's got a super match win against John Brzezinski. He's been legitimately the kryptonite to stopping Arsen Liliev more than once.
Mate, that was one of the most incredible. I mean, that match in Brazil. Wow.
But he's done it more than once at different venues too.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was a fluke thing. I mean, Krasi's one of the all-time greats that when you put money matches together in Europe, he was always a guy that found himself in the money rounds. I think he's got wins on every top name over there.
Yeah. I was very excited to pull him because I saw, who he beat in Europe. He beat Gennady. He beat
Levan. Yeah.
Mate, he's got wins against Levan. He got wins against Lalatin, Gennady Quitvinia, you name it. Krasi smacked him about at some point,
Yeah.
And he's got unwavering confidence, hasn't he? I mean, I spoke to Krasi before he pulled Dave, and he was small. He was like 105 kilos, and he was very confident that he could come in and win that match. So he's not lacking. We have a running joke where I say he's not big enough, and he says bullshit. But we always have a laugh with that. But you can't knock the lad. He's rock strong. He really is. And in terms of arm strength, I mean, you know it inside out, Marcio. But where do you put him arm strength wise, compared with Todd, for example?
I would say Todd lately, a heavier, older Todd. Stronger than before. Yeah, he's like, I would love to pull him again.
Yes. Yeah, you've gone razor close with him, haven't you? You've had some.
It was close. I mean, he felt a little bit. He felt a little bit stronger and more durable.
Yeah.
It was. It was close. The first time, I mean, we always have crazy matches, right? Even the first time NAL, then WAL was very, very good. But the last time I pulled him, I was trying to finish quick as possible because unfortunately, I took a vacation. I couldn't cancel, so I had a vacation before. And then I know my endurance, it won't be on point. I'll be good, you know. I was trying to be loose.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, you know, quick. Because if it goes too long, I know I was gonna
Yeah.
I was gonna die first. But
you know what's crazy? When I look at you,
he's
Marcio, you've got the speed to get all the position you want, and something you don't use that much is you've got an incredibly strong shoulder and tricep combo that I think you could finish that match super fast if you actually threw your shoulder over it. Just use your head to get the position and throw your shoulder over it. I think people don't realize how strong your shoulder and tricep and elbow combination really is.
Yes, but what I saw different in Todd, I think he's a little bit more technical. He knows how to use his power better now, and he developed a lot of back pressure. If people don't realize, what do you do? Like you think you'll take his hand. Like the first time I took his hand, and he didn't do much, but this time you can take his wrist. Actually, I'm sorry, but his hand won't let go. And he starts, you know, pronating and back pressure together. So it's hard to get, you know, in that position that I can shoulder. He's always stretching you.
People don't realize how much pronation and back pressure, because he's moving so hard to the side.
Yes.
People think it's all down and front. And
well, yeah, I mean, you know, does anybody ever really just move like a machine straight sideways? There's always some more mechanics to it.
Oh,
right?
my God, so much. He's stretching.
The way you even kick your elbow backwards changes the angle. You can go like this sideways, but if you kick it this way, it becomes like a downward geometry that changes everything.
Yeah, he's got so much pronation and so much back and rise as he's coming up. You know, and he stretches you out. And it's a great technique because as you top roll hard at him, he's inverting the fuck out of you. He's putting you're going into reverse curl. So he's taking away a lot of your power, you know?
It's like, he goes like this, but his back pressure is on point. Don't get fooled that he doesn't have a back pressure. His back pressure is engaged at the crazy, you know, like, side pressure, but his back pressure is right there, so he doesn't let you, you know, get in. So I was never be able to get what I wanted to get. But
he's a very misunderstood arm wrestler, Todd. You know, he really is. A lot of people don't see what he's doing, and he's a lot more complicated, a lot sharper.
Well, there's a mechanics when people say they want to go crazy and say, can you imagine him winning with his wrist cracked? When imagine like they make it like losing with the wrist cracked and the straps is harder. When if you think about the physics of it, it's actually easier because as soon as you let your wrist go soft, the wrist tightens up around here. So it's like doing a curl on your wrist or a curl in your hand. He's now, instead of transferring the load to his hand, he's transferring it to the wrist. So you can take the forearm and drive on it. I did it on accident one day at practice when I was just kind of like pulling with guys and I felt all the pressure up here. And you're trying to hold it, and then you let it go slack, and with the strap, take the work, and you push on it a little bit, not flop like Jerry, so you can drive. It lowers all that leverage and gives you more power to drive.
Absolutely.
You're actually 10 times stronger. So it's like a calculated move. It looks like that wrist cracking is almost, it's like a neutral position. Like when you do grip sport, your wrist wants to be neutral. So it's not saying that he doesn't have a strong wrist. I think there's more calculation than he plays. He plays the role of the heel like in the WWE, where he's just a strong guy who goes like this with everybody, when in fact, that's anything but what he's doing. You know what I mean?
He's working on a lot of things.
So he's in full understanding of all the little minute things, the little minuscule things.
Yeah, very, very smart individual, good arm wrestler.
He's smart.
Knows his stuff.
He's really smart. He knows how to use everything he got. He really put on work. You know, and he studies. He's very smart at the table.
We got a lot of some interesting stuff here. Swole Zach in the chat. Marcio versus RVJ2. Let's make it happen. That was a match, wasn't it? Jesus Christ, over in Vegas. What a battle that was. One of my all-time favorite matches. It was absolute epic war. Backwards and forwards. Amazing match. Fox 8 Ball in the chat. Good evening, Neil. Yo, Rob. Hi, Marcio. Hi, mate. Good to see you back in the chat there. Mazel Jador in the chat. Herpes Asperini in the chat.
He's my favorite. He's
Mate,
my
have
favorite.
have you seen Rob Virgin Jr. popping up?
Oh, I've been Throb Virgin. I love it. I'm like, bring it. Herpes Asperini puts pictures out there. Devin Cyclops or whatever. Yeah, there's a good troll. There's a good army out there. They're great.
Yeah, it's quality, isn't it? And they're commenting on everything. Keep it up, guys. Absolutely keep it up. Tremendous. Let's have a look what we got in here. Let's try and find a little bit of Herpes Asperini saying, yeah, vegan donuts should be banned. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like fat-free ice cream. If you don't want to eat fat, don't try to find a fat fucking free pizza. Don't try to eat fat-free ice cream. Don't cry about it. If you're going to be lean, eat lean shit. Don't expect me to go out there and make you lean cheese. It's not going to happen. Don't come to my donut cart and go, are these what are the carbs on these? I will squeeze your face and push you down to the beach. You're gone. You're banished.
I love this. Right, Simply Mystery, okay, in the chat. And he's just put, I got a question for all three of you. And then, fuck all. I like that a lot. But joking aside, he's come back further down. He said, what do you do to compete in arm wrestling if it's really unpopular in your country? I think there's a lot of people being in that boat. I really do. A lot of people. And to be fair, there's some really good examples of that. I mean, Ireland didn't have much of an arm wrestling scene 5 or 6 years ago to speak of. And they're doing great things, the Irish lads. And now they got some killers over there. Absolute killers. Guys like Adrian O'Dwyer, Kyle Hutchinson, obviously, you've seen knocking around the place, and many more. Got some solid arm wrestlers over there. So keep slugging away, mate. There's a lot of information. I think
Go watch Cool Runnings. Did you ever see Cool Runnings where Jamaica never had a bobsled team? Those Jamaicans never even saw snow, but they got a bobsled team. Be inspired.
That's a good look. I'm just running through these messages, guys. See what we've got for the lads here. Todd will destroy you, Marcio, says Honky Monky. I don't know whether he will. That's one of the best matches on the... I'll tell you, any card you put that on is going to blow up. Marcio and Todd just screw each other up. It's a great, great matchup. I love that match every time it happens. Let's have a see. What have we got here?
I like that. Yeah, that's a good match. It's a good match.
I think has Marcio changed his nickname from Primal to the Phenom? No, Primal Marcio Barboza was something that was attached to Marcio when he was in the Arm Wars Super Series. The Phenom just was a comment that was made in a show and it stuck pretty much. I don't think Marcio is overly bothered what you call him, as long as you call him.
They're both kick ass. It's not like Matt Mask. They're both kick ass. He could be the Primal Phenom.
The Phenom too. I forgot. I mean, that was my nickname back in Brazil. You know, when it's because usually you use when you have super matches or some kind of a challenge or something bigger, but it was never the case in Brazil. But that was how they nicknamed me a long time ago. We had
you came out of nowhere, didn't you, Marcio? I mean, you know, you just popped up and you were relatively unknown, and then bang, you just crushing people. You know, 95, you won. I think you were second in 96.
96,
second or third.
I only took second. Are we allowed to make excuses or not?
Well, I took second that year as well, mate. I will make excuses. My excuse is we shouldn't have let the Crushing Russian come. Bastard.
I was so young. We went, we did the weightings. Look, we did the weightings. The weightings was actually, I think it's a day before. What we did? It was the day before the left arm or something. We left
back in the good old days.
We didn't need the whole freaking day, right? I thought I was heavier. I weighed 83 kilos with clothes, 83 and a half kilos. So I was probably 82, 81 and a half or something, right? And then we stayed talking to everybody. Then I went with a few friends to look for something to eat. We ended up in a freaking bar. Was no good for me.
My man, I know the problems. Yeah. I know the problems.
Yeah.
Look, and I was arm wrestling people for beer.
Mate,
I don't know.
I did the same thing at that show with Cobra Rhodes. Seriously, Cobra Rhodes at that event.
That guy right there, that guy right there is Satan's
that.
servant. He did it to me at Nationals. I went out with Cobra Rhodes to some weird club with one of his Chechnyan bodyguards, and I didn't know what was going on, but it was like somewhere like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by the end of the movie.
Man, the problem is we end up not eating, and we drink the whole night. We got back to the hotel like 6:30, 7 o'clock. They were breaking my door. We have to get a bus to go to the where the Virginia where the place was
in
gonna
a
be.
convention center, wasn't it?
It was like dying. You see me, that's why I was a world champion in the left arm.
Yes.
And then I took like 6th place over there. I had no strength, nothing.
Marcio, what year did you do the David Letterman show?
Huh?
What year did you do David Letterman?
2003.
See, now that's something I think gets overlooked a lot, because in that same show, it was only a 4-way with you, John Brzezinski, who was prime time, John Brzezinski, Travis Bajan, when Travis Bajan just beat Alexei Vovoda, or was in that year he beat Alexei Vovoda, and Eric Wolfel, right?
Yes. Listen.
So, and you won that.
Yes.
It was 3 weeks before WAF in Canada. 3 weeks.
And Travis just beat Alexei Vovoda in one world, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the Marcio. When people say things, I'm like, thank you, honey. That's when people say things about anything. I'm like, this guy beat, when we talk about Travis Bajan, one of the greatest heavyweights, and John Brzezinski, we all know the opinion of him. He beat him on the same show, the same day. So, I mean, super real. That's yeah.
Dave DeVoto called me the day before. I was digging freaking holes. It was a Tuesday. I was digging holes, and I had it was 1 week or two. I think it was 1 week after Show of Strength, where I pulled Ron Beth. It was me, Ron Beth, Todd Hutchings, Bill Sinks when he was really good, Mike Solera. It was, I don't know if it's Rob Redden, Jacob. It was a huge 95 kilo class. And I was in that class, and Ron Beth was in that class. We did the final.
Yeah, there were some killers around at that point.
I lost mine in fouls. I beat him once.
Can I go back and say that David Letterman's a dick? Because he made you guys arm wrestle in a fish fucking refrigerator.
It was like a grocery shop, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's like you were in Chinatown at some fisherman hut. Who the fuck is he? What can he even in? What can he even do?
It was a day under we spent the day like it was a whole day over there. We met Dave Letterman there.
Yeah.
But then the filming day was in the first floor where they had a deli. You know. It was over there.
Yeah. Can I please get a side of salami with my top roll and a judo with my hook? What the fuck are they trying to do to us? I wish I was there.
So here, guys, let's get back to Manus K. Woodworking's question, okay? And we'll go around on this. So, Marcio, Prime Levan versus Prime Dennis. Who you got?
Dennis.
Look, I would say Dennis because I don't get enough. I don't care what people think, but Levan still, he's great, no doubt about it. I mean, I think he's number one, but he didn't pull nobody else besides those guys in top 8. I mean, I don't know. Dennis has been pulling for a while and has wins on everybody, every top guy in the world. So maybe in a few weeks, maybe in 5 years, we can talk different. But today, I think it's still Dennis.
No,
yeah,
in 5 years, that balloon's
going
to be popped. In 5 years, that balloon's popped. We got about 2 more years to talk about this, and then Levan's going to be bagging groceries at David Letterman's fish market.
I'm gonna go Levan on that.
Nah.
I think Levan can crack him.
I think Dennis might get his hand flattened, but Dennis's arm was too strong.
He had a Kings as well.
You will see Levon struggles with a strong arm. He does hit the wall with a strong arm. He's so used to using that roll and people just cave. You've seen little inklings, little chinks in that armor. But when Dennis was running hot, you didn't see many chinks. I think that he would have laid up Levon.
I love the fact that you called time on Levon's career already. Jay, we got some love for you. Joe Valentine's just come in. $5 super chat. Thanks, mate, for that. And he just put, Rob, I got your salami in a top roll right here, bro.
I can right. Listen,
yeah.
Pizza, salami, olive loaf, meatloaf, whatever you want to do. Guess what? Arm wrestling in a deli is it's like a backhanded compliment. It's like that dress looks good on you for a fat bitch. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say that. You can't tell me, I'm going to give you an opportunity and make a joke of you at the same time. The only thing that came out of it was for Marcio. We have documented history on national TV that he beat the GOAT. And if you ask Travis Bajan, he's the GOAT. So he beat two GOATs. He beat the ASPCA could come down on Marcio for beating the shit out of GOATs.
He was hitting hard in that on the Letterman show. He hit hard. Well, you got, let's be honest, Marcio, you got a who's who list of people you've cracked. I mean, an absolute who's who. I'm trying to think if we put together like the list of people you've busted.
Did you beat Pushkar at the World? You guys stood up in the middle of the table doing Pushkar. Did you beat him?
No, in Pushkar, I pulled 2008. I only pull him on left arm.
Did you get fouled out?
I fouled out. I cracked his hand.
You were in it though. You guys were like tit for tat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was tit for tat.
The thing is, he was hitting back then so straight, side pressure, that it was not too hard to take his hand, but his side pressure was so strong that it would push my elbow to the side because I was in the limit.
Yeah.
I didn't change. I made a mistake, or I should go to the straps and managed to be higher a little bit to pull him. But it was so much back pressure to the side. I took his hand and still pushed my elbow two times. The problem is, I think it was the first match. I got 2 fouls with Ryan Aspie, right? So I have to make my way back, and I end up beating Ryan Aspie in a semifinal. And then I went to the final. Then I had to win twice, and I got 2 fouls again.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I remember the UAL. You got a win. I know, obviously, not a prime Richard Lupkus, but you had a win over Richard Lupkus, which is nevertheless incredibly impressive, and you were ready for that. Now, the thing that people don't know about that as well is that you weren't feeling at your best for that. I remember you were feeling extremely strong, but I know that you were concerned with a few health issues that you were having at the time. Remember speaking to you before, and you weren't overly confident about it. And Rob will remember that because you were pulling at that card as well.
Yeah,
he was confiding in my wife because she's a nurse.
Yep.
Yeah. Scary.
You never talked about it. You never talked about that. You never made big noise about it, but I remember those conversations well, mate. And I remember the look on your face when you won and how happy you were. And you were like genuinely a little surprised. But again, that massive booming hit was doing favors for you, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you know, if you look back at those matches, he didn't win through the head. He got positioned through the head, but he won through the grind. Richard came back, and did he win the Arnold when everybody was there? Did he beat John and Tim? I think he won the Arnold when he came back. Huh?
And Ron, I think.
Yeah. I think he won, but he was winning nationals. He was doing everything. So I mean, that's another incredible win. But you know, when you go down the whole list of like Michael Todd, Ron Bath, pretty much every top heavyweight, I think Marcio's got history with them. He's pulled Tim Bresnan in a super match. He's pulled Ron Bath in super matches. I mean, what's his history with Michael Todd? I mean, so he's done all that.
Yeah. Oh, Farid Usmanov.
Yeah, not a guy.
You pulled Farid?
I'm 1-1 with in the right and then 2 or 3-0 on the left.
You pulled Farid at Ultimate Vegas, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You pulled? Did you beat him?
1-1.
That was the Fareed that was like the weirdo Fareed, right? In Ultimate Vegas, he was like super weird, right?
Yeah.
That was the superhuman Fareed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was already. I think the first year I pulled him, I didn't know him, but he was already. I think he took first in one hand and second in the other hand in WAF.
Yep.
The following year he came back stronger. He was he won the words both arms,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but he never beat me lefty. He won the word both arms, but I crushed him here. And the
Here's
left
one
arm.
for you, mate. For Marcio, from Jack Baladze, he said, "Who's the strongest arm wrestler you've ever arm wrestled? Who's the strongest puller you think you've ever arm wrestled?" Now, people might think that's an obvious answer because of whom you've arm wrestled, but strongest. If we talk about, let's break that down to strongest and most difficult as potentially separate discussions.
Well, I'll tell you, when I pulled Andrei Pushkar, even though it was left arm, that was the strongest side pressure I ever felt to the side. So I remember him, Andrei Pushkar.
While he's thinking about it, can I just say that every person you ask that question to is going to be privy to how they feel at that time.
Yeah.
So if he's off his game, he might feel somebody that feels superhuman, but if he was on his game, might be manageable.
Yeah.
Proceed.
I agree.
John Brzezinski to me was like, he was not the strongest guy. He was to me, he had so much cupping strength in his hand and wrist. Every time we had a match, like even when I end up having a hook match with him, my hand was always my palm of my hand facing the ceiling because he has such a dominance hand over here.
Yeah.
And his wrist flexor was amazing.
Just brilliant technician. He can neutralize you so much, can't he? It's phenomenal.
Yes.
Great. Just a magnificent arm wrestler. His ability to take you out of your game, out of your groove, and time it well was just ridiculous, you know.
Arm strength has never been the strongest. Like, I know if you ever like hooked up like wrist to wrist very deep, it's a different story, but like he's always have that keep you out of there, you know. So much hand and wrist, like amazing. I think nobody maneuver the hand and wrist like him, like, you know, going everywhere from hook to top row and so smoothly.
But you can't deny the arm it was tied to. I mean, I do believe that when John was in his best form, he was also the best hooker, even bone to bone. I do believe that.
He's had times when he was right. I mean,
I do believe that.
Right, didn't he?
Look at when he pulled Fareed when Fareed was in Ultimate Vegas. He threw him in a bone to bone hook. They were bone to bone.
To me, if it goes I mean, strongest to me.
We're talking joint versus muscular.
Well, and strong is many different things. Even just cupping, that takes strength.
Yeah.
This takes strength. So strength is a culmination of things together.
But I'm going to say also that in that particular match with Fareed, he did make it bone to bone. It started in the first round as a soft catching bicep. And in the second round, he was literally dragging, jumping on and driving. And they both did that. And then
they went shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. He did make it about that. I remember him saying, I'm going to cup and drive on this next one. So he collected it, cupped in, came around and really dove on it with the joint. Couldn't hang in there, sat off it, soaked it up. And they both went for that and eventually got him with it. But that was in the second start in the hook. But there were certainly times, I think, when John was, and particularly 2006 Vegas, I think he was.
6 is his year. Six is the year.
I think
he was crushing everybody.
We got another question here from Manus Cave Woodworking, and he said, "Do you guys truly rank Devon #1 in the world 2008 to 2012?" Look, I'm going to answer that simply and honestly. The years are less important than the do you believe he reached the pinnacle of arm wrestling at a time in his career? Categorically, yes. There was a period of time where I am absolutely certain that at that point in time, Devon would have beaten any man breathing in a super match format. What I saw from Devon over a period of time from 2007, certainly to 2009, yeah, he was definitely that guy. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion. I saw what he did, and there's a lot of people have hearsay chats about how things went down, and one guy who's a fan of another guy makes up some random bullshit which isn't really true. When you're on the inside track of these things and you know how everybody was feeling 20 minutes before the match started, a week before the match started, and all the disparate elements that went to make up the match, and then you saw what happened, and then you saw what happened 2 hours after, and what he could do with absolutely fucking everybody. Marcio was at the hotel that night when Devon pulled everybody for friggin' hour. You were there, Marcio. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a display more impressive than what he did to us all that night?
Yeah, he was very impressive. That's the strongest Devon I ever see. Ever felt it. Very, very strong.
It was ridiculous that night, wasn't it? We myself, you, John Brezink, Johan Lindholm, Michael Todd, Andy Barker.
Wasn't Sharon Remez there?
Was who there, mate?
Was Sharon Remez there that night?
No. But I'll tell you what, if he had been...
Was that a different event?
Yes. If Sharon Remez had been there that night, he'd have got crucified. Wouldn't even been frigging close. And Sharon, absolute beast. But I know what I saw that night, and I know what I felt that night. And I felt Devon a lot of times through his career. And in that period of time, the day that he pulled Ron Bath at Trafford Centre as well, Jesus Christ. If you'd seen what he did to Ron that night, that was some scary stuff, let me tell you now.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that footage.
Yeah, it was herpes Asperini. Can you guys see the chat?
No.
Dear me.
What's he want to know? Just put it out there.
Herpes Asperini. Question that he's asked is, hey guys, if you had to pick, what's your favorite disability? Not really sure I can answer that question. I will say that I've got some experience with gigantism of the penis.
Yeah.
It's never a bad thing. But yeah.
Anal leakage. I mean, what the fuck is that? I mean, I would say favorite, I would be deaf, because then I couldn't be privy to most of the bullshit that I'm hearing around me in everyday life.
We're going back to what we're talking about there. Thanks for the super chat, mate. Going back to what we're talking about there. Hope that answers the question on the whole Devon thing. There's a lot of people say, oh, this guy from this year was friggin' invincible. This guy, worthy? I don't know. Let's just say this. I think you get to a level of arm wrestling and everybody, let's have a little playtime. Okay, playtime session. If you start naming me guys and you needed me to pick apart, could they be disproven as being the very best at any time in their career? I can assure you I can pick it apart. I'm pretty sure Rob could, and I'm pretty sure Marcio could, and I'm pretty sure most of the top arm wrestlers in the world could make an argument for picking apart anybody's career. The reality of the situation is that you get to a level in arm wrestling where if on your day you hit a dude, they're in deep shit. That's what it comes down to. And if you manage to hit them on your day, you win. What day is it that's your day? Is it Thursday? Is it Tuesday? Is it fucking Sunday? All you can do is gather people together, pull, and the guy who comes out on that day is the guy that day, and you got to take your half and shake the guy's hand.
Records speak. Records speak. I agree. I do think that Devon had a run there and a stretch there that, regardless of speculation, records speak. We can all speculate, but the guy was out there traveling. He was banging. He was hitting it, and he was the man in the arena. He was winning. You know what I mean? And you could sit there. It's just like any other combat sport. You could say, well, if this guy from this league, from Pride, came over to UFC, it doesn't change anything. This is what we're doing here. If this guy came from, there was a stretch of time that Devon was the dude, without a doubt.
make a good point there with the whole comparison with fight. How many times have we seen that in fight sports?
Right.
You'll say, "Oh, this guy, yeah, nobody can beat him."
Right.
And then suddenly the guy gets cracked and flatlined by a guy.
But even if they don't, like
respect.
that's why there's titles. That's why there's unifications in boxing.
Yeah.
That's why there's all those things. But at the end of the day, like he had pulled the guy who was perceived as number one, no fault to his own, that other people just want to perceive something else per their agenda. He beat the guy. He beat the guy that no one was beating. So, hey, you know, that's the way it goes. You don't have to like it. You don't have to have feelings about it. That's just the result.
And it's also, that works both ways.
Right.
You can get a guy that, you know, he takes a loss against another world-class arm wrestler, and everybody's like, "Oh, shit, is that guy really that good?" Yeah, he's that good. He just made a mistake. One of my favorite arm wrestlers ever, who rose to absolute prominence from his win at the Yukon Jack, which was an incredibly difficult tournament, okay? Incredibly difficult tournament, was Andreas Rundstrom. I love Andreas Rundstrom. He is a magnificent arm wrestler. Magnificent arm wrestler. One of the very best of all time at his weight class. But people don't talk about the fact that that day, at that tournament, when people talk about it being his absolute peak of his performance, he lost his first match against Bill Ballinger.
I saw that.
So, does that mean that Andreas wasn't actually that good? No. It means that Andreas pulled another guy who was also a world champion, a world-class arm wrestler. What I'm trying to say is he was the bollocks. He made a mistake and he got punished for it. He then corrected that error and came back and beat the guy that beat the guy. What I'm saying to you is, you can't be that judgmental on one match, one day, one situation. As Rob said a moment ago, and as Marcio would endorse, once you get to that elite level, if you get cracked, you get cracked. The game is trying to make sure you don't get cracked that much. But if you
that
get
same
cracked,
Andreas that went on to pull, I think it was the Epic Zloty 2004, and take a Ron Bath, who would win any world he went to, and John Brzezinski, and bring him to the line. Bring him to the line. Yeah, to the line. And he was a guy who you never see either one of those guys even struggle with somebody near their weight, never mind lighter than them. And Andreas brought Ron and John to the line. He smoked Dave Patton, who's one of the all-time super goats of the sport, and he smoked him out.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know where
Denny Dupree, same day.
I'll give the respect to Dave. I'll give the respect to Dave Patton that he might have been end of his career, whatever, but he smoked his ass.
Yeah, and if you say it was Patton's end of Patton's career, it was pretty much the start of Denny Dupree's. He was just getting into that absolute red line tear, and Andreas smoked his ass as well. And anybody who's pulled Denny Dupree, the Dragon, incredible arm wrestler that day, the week before, the year before, and 3 years after. That's a bad motherfucker any day of the week, you know? And he got cracked that day. So what? I'll tell you another story about Andreas. We're in Sweden, right? And the Georgian team, all the Georgian team went over. I think it was the Golden Arm, but one of the Swedes in the chat let me know if you can remember which event it was. All I remember I was there watching. But all the Georgians went over to pull. And Andreas weighing like 75 to 78 kilos, usual guy, hadn't trained really at all, just rolled up at the event and cracked the living daylights out of all the Georgian team. From the guy 70 kilos to the guy 110 kilos, just holding the thumb, you know, bad man. So Andreas was the real deal. And all that was that one day that it all went right for him. Number one, he deserved it to go right for him because he'd been whacking people for a long time, and he'd won some, he'd lost some, as we all have at that time. You know, you win them, you lose them. That was his day. And every credit to the lad. He deserves to be remembered for it because he was a bad dude. Just had a super chat from Daniel Ulrich. Thank you for that, mate. And he's just put, my favorite disability is the fairest strap. Thanks very much, mate. So yeah, some of these chats, it's going off. It is going off. Let's have a look what else we got on there. Oh, some comments there about Richard Lupkus. Ash in the Isle of Man. Ash, hope you're well, mate, saying that after Richard Lupkus had pulled with Pushka, he said that he felt like he was scary strong as well. Pretty much an endorsement of what you were saying, Marcio. Obviously, he's acknowledged there that wasn't a prime Richard, very, very far from it. I actually think that a prime Richard would have stomped anybody, really. He had a period of time as well. We talked about Devon. I know you've done a few videos on that, and you did one very recently, didn't you, Marcio? And didn't Richard come out of spot, man?
Yeah, I got a lot of comments because, you know, when I talk about people like rankings, you know, I always start this video saying like, this is my opinion, you know, just what I think. To me, Richard Lupkus was best of all time in terms of strength. Not particularly the best arm wrestler, but the strongest.
I agree.
I saw that guy in late 80s. I mean, saw by videos, right? In 90s, he was super quick and super explosive and super strong.
Unbelievably explosive. And just and the thing is, he'd do that at the WAF, you know, and people would say, oh yeah, well, some of these guys at that time weren't at the. He'd then come back and he'd run through Gary Goodridge like that, John Brezink like that.
Look, a guy from Brazil was a world national champion, and he won the worlds before.
Ricardo Pereira.
Richard Lupkus couldn't let him grab him before he put the elbow. He couldn't put his elbow. He couldn't move his arm. Like he couldn't even get to his side of the table. Nothing.
Roberto Pereira was the guy's name. He was the I think 3-time world champion.
I think it is
vicious deep hook. And I know that
he couldn't even move. Like he couldn't even get center of the table, put any pressure. It was like, it's incredible.
Yeah, it was a friggin' animal, mate. Absolutely. I agree. How high do you rate him, Rob?
Richard?
Yeah, prime Richard.
I think every sport we'd be a fool to think that there's not an evolution in sports. Every sport, now there are greats that will stand the test of time, but the training methods, the programming, and the way we cultivate our arm wrestlers and weed them out is like any other sport. So back in the day, they thought that nobody would run below a 4-minute mile. Like, who's going to ever do that? Now, if you run a 4-minute mile, you're garbage. You're going to be in the lower threes.
Lachlan Adair would do that.
Right. Exactly. You're going to run the threes. Everything gets better through time. We can't be the only sport that goes and stays parallel, like stays on an even playing field. Everything gets better with time. Weightlifting numbers increase. Sprinting numbers, jumping, basketball. I mean, while we all living in the times where Wilt Chamberlain was the only guy that could shoot a 100-point game, do I really believe that Wilt Chamberlain is better than LeBron James? No fucking way. LeBron James would jump off of Wilt Chamberlain's 20,000 chick fucking dick and slam dunk off it like a diving board.
Tell us what you really think, Rob.
I'm just telling you, there's no fucking way.
Mate,
there's no way.
It
just doesn't happen in any other sport. There's no sport standing. The longest standing record was that bullshit home run record that only got broken by like Barry Bonds and whatever. But that's like that guy had a gift for being able to see the ball. Right? In strength sports, if you think with today's drugs, training, and everything that guys are like staying the same, brother, please.
I
almost slipped that one. I almost threw it in. I almost slipped that one.
I can see you were edging yourself back. Boy, Christmas, he spot Rob. That isn't grape juice you're drinking, is it? What are you on there, son? What are you on tonight?
Brother, I care about my antioxidants. I'm trying to be my best.
It's a top tip. See, if it's good stuff, you need to give me some tips on what you're drinking there.
Botabox is actually, I don't know if it's like a high-end wine, but I've had high-end wines that I don't like as much as this. It's like 3-4 bottles in a box. and you just pour it out. That way, then when you pour it out of the spout, you don't have to keep track of how many bottles you go through. You just know that you just pour it, and then you don't feel bad about it.
Marcio, do you drink wine yourself, mate?
He's Brazilian, of course he does. Caipirinhas.
Hey,
occasionally, I have in my fridge.
do you drink Brazilian wines, or do you have a favorite country?
No, I'm not very particular with the wines. Just I try most of them.
Yep. And
I like
Simone, does she drink them also?
Yes.
Oh, I can see a big night coming up at the next event, mate. It's on. It is on.
Lightly.
Let's have a look.
You gotta bring Marcio out there with you too. We gotta get this thing like I need at least a little bit of a semi-entourage. We gotta get a couple so we can make like so we gotta have Marcio like Ongabayev again. We need an Ongabayev ×2.
That's an interesting match.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like that match.
Me, Sasho, Marcio, Ongabayev, and then you get some other chump in there. We'll have the North American Series, East meets West, the truth.
Tell you, you could have a lot of fun. But I do like Marcio and Hermes. I'm going to come back to that because, you know.
Yeah. I like Ongabayev better.
I like Ongabayev a lot. I think that's a great match.
He's great. He's very good.
I'd actually like to see Marcio. There's a number of guys that I can. I mean, I'd like to see you and Prudnik as well. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, you just gotta get him to dial it down a little bit, man. Dial that shit down. Don't preheat the oven so much.
He's going big. What did he weigh at the last top 8? Yevgeny?
250 maybe.
Fuck.
It was
high 240s.
115, I think. Prudnik.
Yeah.
But he was huge. He was lighter now. He was about 104, 105 kilos.
I like that match with you at that weight. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what might be interesting there would be Prudnik and Todd when they're both big.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
I like to see a Todd with, but I think, what do you think about Todd and Hermes?
I mean, I love that match. I think that's a potentially friggin' awesome.
I think it'll go a lot like Todd and Mask.
That quick? See,
not that quick. But as soon as he grinds out that guy and breaks his spirit, it's over.
Yeah.
When a guy gets everything he needs and cannot win, his soul is stripped from his body. Like when Peter Pan's shadow was pulled from him. You ever see when Peter Pan got a shadow ripped from him? That's what happens when a guy gets everything. He's like, if I could just get a guy right here, and then he gets him right there and doesn't win, guess what happens to his confidence and soul? They fly away. They go to another planet, another a realm. They go to heaven.
I think Hermes always presents a problem, and Hermes always presents a risk for anybody he pulls because of that blast start, you know. He may put it on the pad before it stops, but if Todd stops it, and that's why over multiple rounds, I think
he's going to stop
the pendulum goes towards Todd, doesn't it? You know, because we talked about this in the fix a couple of weeks ago, and I actually made a comparison between Todd and Marcio's match to give us an indication of how that would go, because I think he's going to get the brakes on at some point. The big question is, Hermes has got the ability to transition around. He's good strength through the elbow. He's got the ability to transition around and try and dump the press on.
But that's like saying you're thinking that Hermes is as body strong and his arm wrestling strong in all the components as Marcio is.
No, he's not. Not in my opinion.
No, he's not. He's not as body strong as Marcio.
No, I don't think he is. I really don't.
If Marcio and Hermes fell on a hook or anywhere that required like shoulder and back or anything strength, Marcio would dust them off.
Marcio's very, very strong in that position. We got Randy Robbins, mate. Thank you so much. He's just put, brother, please. He said, you guys are the bee's knees. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate your super chat. Appreciate your support. And Daniel's in with another super chat. What's he got here? I'm 0-10 on the table. Almost beat my 4-year-old today. Mate, it isn't your game yet. But I know you're looking at it hard. And put in the chat also when you've got this thing going down with Michael. This guy's a tree faller, and he's got he's got a match, and then obviously he's got some YouTube stuff going down.
All
with
right, I'm
Michael.
just going to say it like this. I'm going to say it out here in the public. I've talked to Daniel, and I've tried to talk him away from doing, oh, God, here we go. I'm going to be a villain. I've tried to talk him away from you bringing Michael out there as the face of arm wrestling. I just said it. I did. And I don't know if he's giving them dough, but these tree followers think of what they love. They like to feel they cut with chainsaws and saws all day. They're doing manual labor. They want to feel somebody with a hand and a wrist and an arm and a stoutness.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if there's a tree follower out there that's like Khaled and Mike's got to go like, whoop? You know, that's some bullshit. They're not going to respect it. Now, I don't give a fuck I don't care if we accept that in the arm wrestling world, but don't go to the tree follower world that wants to feel Paul Bunyan standing up there like this, and they want to feel some hand and wrist and all the things to another level than what they're used to, and then you go and dip off to the side and say that that's proper arm wrestling. You will not make them understand it. They will not buy it. They want to feel the bounty, brawny, whoever he is, man. They don't want to feel the loophole man.
You know, the funny thing though with that, Rob, is that Mike has actually got that power to be able to do that and stand straight, stone wall. If he
throws his shoulder on top of it, if he just grabs a person's shoulders down on him, but I'm just talking like grab the dude who has an arm wrestle and contain him and let him bang on you, because obviously you're a world champ and he's just a chump. Can you just let a guy rifle on you, or do you got to like back away? I don't think that center table, center line, like that crisscross strength is there. Now you could finish a guy like hard by jumping on him or strapping him and backing away, but do you have that weirdo strength that they respect, like a crab fisherman or a logger or a lifelong carpenter would respect? They want to feel all that tactile, put their hands on it. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's like the first time you had sushi. If you go out and you have bad sushi, you don't eat sushi again. That doesn't mean sushi's bad. It means you went to a bad place.
We got Jack Valads has just come into the chat here, and he's just put Hermes is a terrible matchup for Toddzilla. Possibly, but I think Todd might be a terrible matchup for Hermes. It's an interesting one. Did
you guys see? Did you see? It's only practice, of course. I don't take that much, but you see Todd practicing with Michael?
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, right?
You know what? I thought it was really I knew
it would go like that.
Where I thought it'd go.
Yep. I figured that 100%.
Yeah, I really figured that would be what would happen. But I still think game day.
Oh no, it's
Michael
different.
All day, every day, because he's just that everything that Rob does, that Todd does, is going to get disabled by that. I just think that Michael in game day, that until Todd really works out the King's move, it's going to be a bad day.
I'm not going to agree with you there, dude.
Yeah, I know a few people haven't, but I'm convinced of it. And
I don't agree with you.
That's one we'll get to see. That's going to happen.
I don't agree with you.
Well, it's different King's move from Devon when Todd Hutchings pulled Devon and Todd Hutchings will pull with Michael. Michael is not that, that much. He's closer. He got a shorter lever.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different. It'll be a good battle, I think.
Can we talk about why no one talks about Jerry when I think he's the winningest heavyweight in North America besides
Jerry Caderet is a friggin'.
Jerry's pretty strong.
He's iron. The man.
Well, why is no one talk about him?
Wizard's tits.
I'm just saying, I think he's got the winning record. No, listen. Before I go further, I'm not on a Michael Todd hate campaign. I'm on a little bit of truth campaign. All I'm saying is I do believe that per the records, I think Jerry's got the winning record, or he's at least 50-50 because that last match was super weird.
Yeah, so Jerry and Mike have pulled less frequently than you think. They've not. Yeah,
but they pulled the WL, and Jerry won a round. Michael won a round, and then the other one was
Michael won at UAL. Jerry won nip and tuck at the NAL.
Jerry beat Mike at the first
NAL.
Yep. NAL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he beat him at the NAL, shoulder for shoulder.
Yeah. Back in the old Mike days, pre-King's Move Mike.
But even in WAL, as of recent, I think Jerry's got the record. But everyone's touting him. And listen, Mike, Rebecca, if you guys are watching this isn't a hate campaign, but we've got to call it what it is. I think that Jerry's so valid that we're talking about like the best guy in the world in Michael. When if I'm being objective, if I was an objective person that didn't have any emotional attachment to anybody, I don't know if he's the best guy in North America. And that's including like he's got a match with Devin coming up. But if he beats Devin, that doesn't change Jerry's lurking presence.
Well, let's be honest. This is exactly the point I was making a few minutes ago. First of all, just Craig Humphreys, you should have 10 times the subscribers you've got, mate. Thank you so much. Thanks for your support, brother. Really appreciate it. But yeah, exactly what we were talking about earlier when I said any man on the day at that level, and Jerry's a really good example of that. Because if Jerry Cadorette catches you, you are in deep shit. You are.
But he's proven time and time again to not be a fluke. He's beat Don Brzezinski in a super match. He's beat Tim Bresden. He's beat Ron Bath. He's not some fly-by-night. He is worthy of that consideration. It's like, could he be the dude? The only dude he couldn't get around was the dude that the other two dudes beat. So the only dudes he couldn't get around were Devin and Michael. But he couldn't get around Jerry.
He struggled with Dave Chafee.
He struggled with Dave because he would fall into Dave's power. But Dave, listen, this community is a heartful, forgetful community because Dave is probably still a top 1, 2, 3 guy in the world, but he took 2 losses to 2 guys in the wall, and all of a sudden, nobody's talking about Dave anymore. Dave is a fucking animal.
By the same token, Rob,
Dave's just
victories against Jerry, you could say the same thing.
What?
You could say the same thing about Dave's victories with Jerry, though. It's not like he's beat him every time and fushed him every time and they've pulled 10 times. He's lost 2. Could he beat Dave Chafee? Maybe, yeah.
It's just a thing where he plays in. Here's the thing. Everybody knows how strong Dave is. Jerry falls onto Dave's strong point. He falls right on it.
Yeah.
If Dave happens to be that one guy like Denis Cyplenkov that could maybe pull away from that. But Michael and Devin are smart enough to fall around it. They get the fuck out of there. They don't charge through. This is the difference of snipers and like Marines that just like have a mindless, let's go forward into battle.
Arm wrestler A beats arm wrestler B, but he doesn't necessarily.
But no, like these guys are taking a sniper approach. These guys are taking a hand-to-hand combat approach. It's different. It's a different strategy. Wins equal wins, but not always.
So does Levan Saganashvili beat Dave Chafee?
That's a good one. Because I think Levan will try to go through him, and I do think Dave will scoop him up, and I do think Dave is stronger. No, I don't think
Marcio?
so. Huh?
You got Marcio?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Levan and Chafee is a very interesting match, so we can see how, because people think like Dave Chafee is just a good hooker, which to me he got the strongest hook in the planet right now. He's super, super strong in a hook.
Oh yeah, ridiculous.
But Levan to me had a stronger hand. So he have ways to get out of Dave's hand. That's the only way. You know what I mean?
You know who I think cracks Dave badly though? Lalatin.
Have they pulled? Has Lalatin ever pulled Dave?
No.
So you can't say that. Because you know what?
No, it's an opinion.
I know that I saw one time. I saw Dave pull Sean Latimer, and I was like, "There's no fucking way that this is going to be a close match because Sean's so big and so good lefty with its huge fat hand, and Dave would just shut him down. His ability to clamp has not been showcased yet. What we're seeing is a muddied version of Dave.
Yeah, but I think the height's the key, mate. I think height and direction are the key. In other words, right, I think Dave has a much better chance of beating Levan than he has of beating Vitali. Whilst Levan obviously beat Vitaly last time out, although by a gnat's dick. Everybody thinks that that match is not a match. I disagree. I think the next time they
I
pull,
think anyone who steers away from the King's move, who doesn't King's move, is going to find themselves in a fucked up place against Dave. I think he is that strong. He is that good. And if they allow him to get a hand on them, they're going to see Vitaly. I always thought was probably better than Levon overall. Overall. Just because he beat him, right? But I think there's going to be guys that might beat Levon that can't beat Vitaly. And yeah, I'm in the line with you, but I do think Dave has gotten forgotten about, and to think that he can't show up and beat Levon is crazy. Because I do think he can.
He very much possibly could, and that would put him right back in that conversation.
He's not a little guy. He's a big guy. I mean, he's what, 6'3", 6'2", 6'3"? And if he's got a wrist, he's pulled with Dennis, right? Yeah. He knows what that world level is about. Trust me, I believe that he's going to – he looked bad because he fell into a line of it's a fucking loophole. He fell to a loophole.
I could not agree more. And this is, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Just quickly, Craig Humphreys. Thank you, mate. I'm glad you found the channel also, brother. Hope you enjoyed the show. And thanks for the super chat there, mate. I couldn't agree more with what you're saying there, Rob. And again, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. Dave had a couple of little blips, against bogey wrestlers. Yeah, Mike's got his number. Fair enough. But does that mean that Dave's not as good? No, does it? Dave's friggin' phenomenal. Maybe the strongest.
You can't say Mike has his number because they pulled once. They pulled once.
No, they've pulled more than once. Mike's beat him a couple of times.
Where?
Beat him at the CrossFit Games and handled him. Same. It's stylistically. He just.
I got you. I forgot about that one. I did.
Yeah, just stylistically, and also when you watched how Mike and speaking to Mike actually at the time. You know how you said Jerry fell into the sweet spot? Dave does for Mike. Not so for Devon. Devon was scratching to beat Dave. He out-battled him, outworked him. Dave's a stronger man. Pretty much it. But he got out-arm wrestled and he got out-fought that day. But again, does that really detract from how good Dave Chaffee is?
If it was a sit-down tournament, Dave is the Richard Lupkes of today.
Dave is the Richard Lupkes of today.
Yeah.
He's a
If it's a sit-down tournament, Dave is Richard Lupkes.
Dave's one little technical change and nuance away from blowing everybody's fucking head off. Yeah, he really is. He's that good, you know. He's that strong. So,
and this is what pisses me off about YouTube and about the internet. And then Marcio, you got a new channel. Beware. This is an ugly, fucking icy landscape that you don't want to be part of. Because as soon as you do some bullshit that nobody likes, and you can't get the old thumbs up, and someone gets real sad all of a sudden, and it turns a thumbs down, fuck that. Dave Chaffee got forgotten about over 2 matches with other world champions. When you're in a place that you can't lose to another legend or world champion, until all of a sudden you lose to a legend and you're a bum, where are we right now? Like, Devin Larratt, we already agreed, all of us, including myself, is one of the greats. And he lost to Devin, regardless of how, and all of a sudden Dave's a bum? Where the fuck am I right now? What are we talking about right now? That's like Larry Bird. That's like saying Larry Bird didn't exist because Jordan was better than him. Who wants to come at me with that argument?
I think the nature of combat sport's a little bit like that, Rob, isn't it? You know, the nature of it, it is a cold, icy landscape. It is a situation where if you drop the ball at an elite level, I mean, you know, Marcio's been there, you've been there, I've been there, we've all been. If you're riding the top of your game and then you take a loss, everybody's this guy's a bum. You know, you're nothing. But then the week after you go and crack the dude that everybody's singing about, but it happens in a tournament that was a little bit less publicized and nobody knows about it, you know, but it's funny how that works. You know, it's funny.
Look how funny this is. I never gave too much, you know. But
Well, the irony is,
so many
amongst
people-
us, amongst the guys at the show who were in that echelon, you name it. When have you ever been to a show and they're not saying, oh, you know, the top guys are going, yeah, Marcio, oh, not Marcio, no problem. I'll run through Marcio. Nobody's saying that. Everybody backstage is like looking around thinking, that might be the man, or that motherfucker, or that one, or that one. We'll see. Is it Tuesday or Friday? We'll see. You know, and everybody knows if you get cracked, you get cracked. You know who you think might win, and you're watching the form guide, but you know who might show up. And that's how it is. But the masses and the people that are out there don't necessarily read it like that and don't see it like that. Cruel game. Cruel game.
No, the media, it's cruel. How
Yeah.
many matches? Like the first season that I lost my super match is like, oh my god, I never see this guy win a match.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden I won. I beat crazy. Oh, I'm very, very happy. Marcio finally got a win.
Finally
I'm like,
wins. Yeah, Marcio's finally winning. He's not a bum. You've been winning for 20 plus years, and all of a sudden you proved yourself proud by winning one match. Imagine that.
yeah, imagine that. A lot of guys said, "Oh, did you ever beat?" You know, they gave it a name like Devon, or did you ever beat Rombat? Did you ever? I'm like, yeah, it's got to search. You gotta
Yes.
find out.
Oh, is there anybody who haven't frigging pulled? I mean,
Marcio, don't be so correct. Just say, yes, I've waxed their asses.
we got a super chat from Ray A. Thanks, mate. $3 super chat. Will Rob versus Sasho be at 90 kilos? To be honest, we'll work that out with the guys and see where they feel comfortable and where they want to pull. If it's Arm Wars, that was usually 205. So that was the class. It was 205 pounds.
Yeah, we'll kick it.
Yeah, but it'll be between the guys, and we can make that match where both men are happy. Rob said he was happy on pretty much either.
Listen, if I lose, the question is, everyone's comfortable with it. Everyone, even including people in North America, because these are legendary people from afar. They're like unicorns. But what if I smash them? What's everyone gonna do?
It'll be another reset.
All your illusions. The Easter Bunny's real. Santa Claus is real. I'm real.
Locust in house, mate. It's going to be an interesting matchup for so many reasons, and I think it'll be an eye opener for a lot of people. I'm looking forward to seeing it. To be perfectly honest,
I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna call right now. I'm winning it, and I'm winning it hard. I'm gonna beat him in a hook.
Oof.
I said it. I said it in one of my videos. My favorite thing was when Babe Ruth pointed to the fence and said, I'm going to hit a home run now. I'm going to beat him hard twice. And I'm going to beat him in a hook. Call me a liar. I'm coming in with the strongest arm you ever seen.
Hey.
And then I'm going to jump to heavyweights and beat Dave Chafee in a hook. Fuck you, Dave.
Now here we go. Check this out. I did this to Marcio earlier. I'm going to reverse the show now. So this is to Rob. Gennady Quickvinia versus Marcio Barboza. How's that match go? Clark's 93 with that question. Thanks for.
I like that match, but I don't know enough about Gennady. All I see is his weightlifting videos. I do think they have similar attributes as far as their skeletal build. I think their skeletal build is very similar.
Both very well rounded, also.
Yeah. So they both seem to top, post, hook, press. But I think Gennady doesn't have a particularly big dominant hand. I think he's a lot of he's got strength through his post.
Yeah.
Right. His post seems to be his top rolling strength, which is Marcio's top rolling strength. I would think they're very comparable. There's a lot of rumors going around that Gennady's like at the best he's ever been, but that's rumors. That's what Russia wants us to believe. If we could be doing their laundry right now and sending them over, like, doing free labor for them, they would have us believing everything. At the end of the day, I do believe that Marcio and Gennady, even though some people would think that it's not close, I think it's very close. And I can't see. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told me that Marcio waxed him. And if Gennady won, Gennady's all the hype. But I don't think Marcio's out of that at all because he's beat the guys who set the bar. How can you be surprised if the guy who is the bar beats the guys who are trying to get to the bar? You know what I'm saying?
Well, if WL come back in 2022 and everything's okay with COVID and so on, that's another match that has a high likelihood of taking place.
Just bring Marcio out to the Night of Giants like we're all going, and we're going to do it. We're going to have an East meets West coming to America. We're going to be training in the snow, running up the Himalayas, and we're going to be squatting ox carts and not giving a fuck.
Just get you over here and put you in a barn and just say.
For a second there, I thought somebody was judging me, and I
Everything
realized it was
I've been
Marcio's.
instructed to provide.
We are good. And then we'll just leave you alone for 6 weeks. Get a bit of training done. Back you come.
Leave your twin brother there. For a second, I thought I was being judged by 3 people, and I realized it was just your twin brother. You were photobombing your twin brother and your wife.
Now then, let's
keep
have
him
a
away, dude. He's got a clean shave. He's a good-looking cat. Keep him away from your wife.
For all you guys in the chat that are firing in the questions now about Gennady and so on, we would have got a really good look at Gennady Quickvenia, guys, because he was signed. He was in. He was going to be pulling Jerry Caderet. So just to let you all know, that would have been. Would have seen him. Would have seen him.
That's your third match. That's your third match. Don't fuck with me, Neil. Gennady and Jerry. WAL's not happening. Gennady and Jerry, Marcio and Ongarbayev, me and Sasho. That is the fucking fireworks of 2021.
Oh, it's an amazing match, that.
That's 3 for 3. You can't beat that.
Jerry Caderet, Gennady Quickvenia is an amazing match.
And Marcio and Ongarbayev.
Marcio versus Ongarbayev is another amazing.
And then me and Sasho, that's 3 for 3. True, bona fide, not you're not getting the troll. You're not getting the grenade out of the group. You're getting 3 for 3 smokers.
We won't get a sniff of Ongarbayev, mate. He's PAL.
Crazy redo?
Doable, but he's top 8 also at the moment. You know, Krasi up for it. But there's other opportunities there, you know. There's other opportunities there. So, hey, can't let this show finish without saying, anybody see Morozov the other day in Siberia?
Who?
Morozov.
Never heard of him.
Mate, bad mother. Kazakhstan's finest heavy at the moment. Zaranov, obviously WAF champion. Well,
nope, I only know Trubin.
First time I saw Zaranov, I rate very, very highly. Very, very, very highly. So the first time Morozov really comes on my radar as reinvigorated, because I saw him back at WAF a few years ago. First noticed him come on my radar when he had a screaming death match with Tokarev.
Oh,
hook match. And he was hanging in. And I thought, this kid's real. And he was young. I mean, like 21 years old or something, only a kid. And I think, and he can pull, you know what I mean? You can really see he can pull. Then you see him against Zaranov in a super match. And he frigging wins on the Nomad channel. Check it. Go on Nomad and look, Zaranov versus Morozov. They pull both arms, but it's the right arm that I was interested in, okay? The right arm was the one. Morozov wins battle, but he wins. Since then, he's been very, very much on my radar.
What's his weight?
He probably weighs, I would think, around the 115 to 120 kilo mark.
So what? Him and Marcio?
But well, mate, I'll tell you what. He's got to pull somebody big name soon, because the man looks really, really good. I don't know how good, but you seen him, Marcio? He looks serious, doesn't he?
Well, he beat the guy who won the last WAF, right? That big guy, strong guy that went to. He easily beat Zoloev, right? That guy that he beat.
Yes.
So this guy is serious.
Yeah, he's
talking about a serious guy.
Strong, really, really, really good. So it's, I don't know how strong he's going to be when we see him against one of the recognized main names, but I don't know. He could be an upset the apple cart type of dude. He looks that strong to me. So, and he's very well rounded. I'd love to see him pull somebody like Trubin. that kind of level.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you say he's the best guy in Kazakhstan, isn't Trubin from Kazakhstan?
Yes.
Trubin and Ongarbayev both are from Kazakhstan, right?
Oh, sorry, Trubin. No, you basically got. He's not going to pull Trubin, I don't think, at any time soon. Because
no, but I'm saying, aren't Trubin and Ongarbayev both in Kazakhstan?
Yeah, they're going to come across each other in tournaments if they were to pull them. The only
but they're like, those are the marquee guys. That's the marquee guys.
Yeah. Well, Zaranov was, but Zaranov's pulling in amateur tournament. Same situation as Morozov. Trubin, you're not going to see in that environment anytime soon because he's gone PAL. But I'd love to see it. Somebody like that. One of those. Oh, here we go. Rob, Lloyd Christmas has just come in. Check this out. Rob, don't lose your honesty in this arm wrestling game. It's a breath of fresh air. Yeah, definitely doesn't hold back.
Come under the scrutiny, man. I come under the watchful eye, but you know what? Keeping up with the lie is like weaving a spider's web. I'm all set. I'm gonna keep it the way I keep it. And I like to be able to tell it like I tell it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good comment, mate. Thank you very much for that. And Jack Valads has come back in and said Morozov versus Marcio would be another good matchup. Yes, it would. That would be an acid test. I'd love to see that happen. Both good on both arms as well.
Yeah, let's get Marcio at like his comfy weight, and then
do you know I'm a scheduled to pull Ryan Espy.
Yeah,
lefty, right?
In TAL, yeah.
Lefty or righty?
Both.
You'll kill him righty.
I like the left.
You'll kill him righty.
Yeah, left's interesting, isn't it?
Left, he's good left. I don't know how good. I don't know enough about him.
Ryan's good both arms.
I know he is, but I know that
I think
his left is better than his right.
Yes.
And Marcio is pretty ambidextrous.
Yes.
I think his left and right are like very similar. But I just don't think, like, you're talking legendary level. I think Marcio's legendary level both arms, but right is what we all talk about. Like, thinking John Brzezinski right-handed is super legendary. It's a small list. It's up there. I don't think Ryan's ready for it.
Another guy I'm really looking to see resurgent and back in action soon is definitely going to be Alex Kadetcha, because I heard that Alex was, well, I know that Alex was another guy that was going to be coming over.
Is he a 90-kilo guy?
No, he's oh God, what will he weigh? 150.
Oh, you're talking about the big football guy?
Yeah, mate, he's an absolutely enormous man.
Yeah, the top 8 guy, right?
Yes, he's mega. And he's an emerging force. He's only young and he's just getting better and bigger.
Who's the guy that I'm thinking of that is the 90-kilogram guy with the deep hook? It sounds like that could
probably somebody like Margaret.
They all sound the same. They're all brothers and sisters. All right. So,
it's like Margaret.
Is it Kodak or Kovac or Kudek or whatever?
I'm trying to think who you mean, not Petrenkov.
No, he had a bald head, and he used to pull the guy who was married to Babayev's sister. Who was the guy? The guy that was a stud that used to pull.
Lubomir.
Lubomir and him had a match. Is it Kovac or Kochak or not?
Kosak. You mean from Turkey?
No, not Kosak. He was an old school hooker.
So I think who you mean.
Fuck, I have to give you the videos. So Lubomir used to be married to his sister, correct?
Lubomir was married to
Babayev.
To Babayev's sister.
Yeah. I just remember seeing Lubomir and this guy in a hook. That's all. And I was like, oh, he's real. He's real. Moving on.
About Ruslan?
No, Ruslan, no.
Baby Babayev.
I'll find it and I'll text it to you.
Find it over. I'm trying to think who you mean.
Old school. He came back. He took a layoff, or he got banned or something. He was a good deep hooker. He was fucking people up real good. 90-kilogram guy.
Andrei Kruglov.
Is that who it is?
Andrei Kruglov sounds like, super deep hooker. Really.
Fuck. He had a bald head. I'm pissed now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who you mean.
I don't want to be Googling on your shit.
We're talking Russia.
Yes, it was him.
Russian.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who you mean, mate.
Kadaev. Is it Kadaev?
Sherman Kadaev?
Kadaev?
Oh my
Kadaev.
God, yeah.
Sherman
Oh,
Kadaev. Yes.
Sherman
I
Kadaev.
haven't seen.
That's the one. Kadaev. Sherman Kadaev.
He got banned, mate.
Yeah, that's what I said. He got banned.
Yeah.
But he had that deep bone-on-bone nasty hook.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in friggin'. When was the last time I saw him? Like 2014, 15?
Well, I saw him pulling Lubomir. I haven't seen Lubomir in years either.
No. Yeah, I haven't seen Lubo in a long time. Lubo's left at one point was unbelievable. For a minute,
Both arms were unbelievable.
When you said Russian, I was thinking maybe Zambalat Sorayev.
What is he Russian? He is Russian, right?
Yes, yeah. Sherman Kadaev,
okay.
yeah, and Zambalat Sorayev as well. I thought you meant Sorayev for a while, but yeah.
All right. So we got that sorted out.
Let me see. Have we got any more questions? I'll just have a little look at the chat, guys.
Yesterday is dead and gone.
Tell you what, mate, we're gonna have some fun when you get to England.
Hell yeah, man.
Did a bit of singing this morning in the shower, mate.
I do sing in the shower too.
Didn't sound half bad, Marcio.
No, I just sounded like James Morrison to me. Hell.
Here we go. One for Marcio. How do you think Cody Merritt does versus Levan or Vitaly Lalatin left-handed? From Shredder 11977.
I think there'll be a little too much. I think Levan and
Vitaly.
there'll be a little bit too
agree.
much.
A lot.
Has anybody heard how Cody's doing? I mean, his arm was busted pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's recovering. Takes time.
Have we figured out if Cody's not even the best in the U.S. yet, though? I mean, just because you win a U.S. championship or a world championship doesn't mean that there are guys that weren't there don't exist. We don't know if Cody could beat Marcio. Best left-handed. Back in the day, it was like one of them was Christian Binney, but like we'll say Marcio, Travis, Devin. Those are the big three left hands, I would say. And then you got Ryan Espy. That's like a big four. So you can't go conquer the world if you can't conquer your continent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, rock solid arm wrestler, always there or thereabouts. But I agree with what Rob was saying there. There's a few guys in there that are definitely in the hunt. Lloyd Christmas, mate, you're killing it with the super chats, Lloyd. Loving this, mate. Thank you so much. Marcio's a true legend. Glad to see you on the show. Keep kicking ass with the YouTube channel. Absolutely. And guys, get yourself over to Marcio's YouTube channel and Rob's YouTube channel. When this goes out on the record, I'm going to put the links to both these gents' channels in the description. Get yourself over there, guys, and please sub to these lads. Some of the most entertaining comment and content on the web. Full stop. Believe me, I piss myself laughing with some of the stuff that's coming out from Rob. And the other day, I found myself in the shower watching some Marcio Barboza top lightweights of all time. Yeah, I can't listen to you in the shower, Robbie. Don't feel right, mate. It's scary if that happened. I'd be like, nah. When you come over to England, I couldn't stand next to a frigging bar with a glass of wine and say, guess what, mate? I was listening to you in the shower the other day. It's just no, it's not how we roll, is it?
You can't. I mean, I guess we can do it like that, but I mean,
Marcio's that kind of guy. It don't bother me. I can be like, you know what, Marcio, you were in showering me the other day, and I know he's chill. No problem. It's funny. We had a comment earlier on in here, and it said, "Marcio's such a lovely dude," and then when he's on the table, he's so aggressive and hyped up. It's good to see him so chill when he's just hanging. And
wait. Let me cap on that. Marcio is a stone cold sucker fucking puncher. He is a sucker puncher. You put us in the room together at Arm Wars, and I was like talking with him, and him and I were showering, and I think he even put my deodorant on and like helping me pick out outfits. And I was texting Heather, and I was like, this guy is such a nice guy. I really like him. Like, I love this guy. And him and I were like bosom buddies. We were going out to restaurants together, skipping down the road, like in sync, like going to restaurants together. Then we got a pull, and I was kind of like in my mind, I'm like, well, we're not going to make each other look bad. We got a bromance. We love each other. We love each other.
And then
he
Ralph
was like,
lights you up.
he was like, who the man? And I was like shell shocked. I was like, I thought we had a romance, bro.
Mate.
My feelings were so hurt. I was like, this guy is an animal. He doesn't like. He wanted to eat me the whole time. He wanted to eat me.
Marcio, guys, is honestly, if you know Marcio Barboza in person, couldn't agree with what Rob said more. He's so different.
Oh my God!
Humble, lovely bloke you could possibly. Me and my dad went over to the UFC, work in the UFC when Michael Bisping, friend of mine, was fighting over there, and we went. It was in Newark, right? So Marcio says, "Hey Neil, I'm going to take you to a place tonight. I'll show you how we do it in Brazil." Took us to a Brazil grill restaurant over there. My God, I kid you not, I would never have found that place. We would never have found that place, right? And the quality of the food and the atmosphere in that place was as good as I have ever seen in my life anywhere. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. We were in there till about 3 a.m. Brilliant time. Just had the best time. It was incredible. Absolutely.
But he still waxed me without making any apologies.
Yeah, first.
I felt bad about it. I felt like we broke up for a second. I was almost like, "What happened, bro?"
When you were back in the shower in the room that night, did you go, dude?
Yeah. I was showering like this slowly. He's like, "Yo, Rob, we're going out tonight soon." I was like sitting in the corner, like that first hit had me shook. I was like, no, it's good, man. I got to feel everything I expected, but it's interesting to see. I'm an emotional puller. If I like somebody, I don't want to deal someone the loss because for some reason, like I feel like a loss hurts them. Other people can separate that and like this is sporting now. It's like we don't have to be friends anymore. So when he waxed my ass, I was almost like, I thought we were friends. He hurt my feelings. He did. He got me good. It was almost like April Fool's Day on Marcio time.
You gotta know it's coming. It's coming.
Hey, but Sylvain Perron did the same thing to me.
Oh no!
Sylvain Perron came to me and was like, "Oh, you look such like a nice boy. I love you. Oh, we have good arm wrestling match. I hope I'm strong enough for you." And then he was like, "Pow!" I was like, "What the fuck was that, Sylvain? What are you doing to me, Sylvain?"
That's good training for Sasho, Rob.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do with Sasho? I'm coming in with a grape ape full of hate, and I'm just understanding that that's like a girl who's been cheated on 20 times. Marcio cheated on me, Sylvain cheated on me, and then after I've been cheated on enough, now I'm callous. So I already know what to expect. Thank you, Marcio, for preparing me for Sasho 20 years ahead of time.
Craig, thanks for your super chat, mate. We got Craig Humphreys just come in. He's put, have Devon and Michael approached you about commentating their match? Craig, I can't give away too much on here, but I have had conversations about the Devon and Michael match. It wasn't with Michael and Devon, although we have spoken about a lot of things relating to their match. But the people who are organising that match, I have spoken to. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, a lot of issues with COVID at the moment, but you never know. You never know, Craig. Thanks for your super chat, that mate. Hope you're well. Let's have a look what else we got down here. Todd Hutchings versus Marcio, left and right hand. Who wins? Well, you've pulled right hand twice now, Marcio, yeah?
Yeah, and super match, yes. Tournaments we pull lefty, but lefty no problem. But right-handed we pull only in super matches.
And you won the first one in NAL, WAL. Razor close. Todd got the WL matches, but some of the best matches you'll ever see, and I'm sure that will happen again. I know Marcio would love it again. I think Todd would have liked that match again. It's always a great one. Really is. Let's have a look. Who we got? What we got? What we got? I'm just looking at the clock as well, guys. We're only going to be on here for about 5-10 more minutes. I'm going to let these guys get on with the day. So if you got any more questions, please fire them in now. Just trying to pick out any we haven't covered. Marcio, are you in shape at the moment? You've been training hard?
More or less, not. I mean, I've been training. I was off for 8 months, nothing, zero.
Jesus.
My wife can tell you, zero, no training at all. I had a few, some pains and all that stuff. I took the time to
work
there was
out.
nothing to do. I've been training.
So when's the match?
2 months, I think.
Signed up for the TAL then, mate. When's that spot with Ryan? When you doing it?
Just Ryan called me out.
Did he really?
Yeah, he called me out for the left arm after I did my best at the moment top 5 left arm.
Okay.
And I put myself like close to that, not in top 5, but close with Krasimir. I think that's the case. And then he said he didn't think so. He think him and Corey should be ahead, something like that. And then he said he wants to have a match with me in a long time, left arm at least. And then he called me out, and when I saw the video, I said I accepted. Okay, let's do it. Let's find a promoter. And then the same day at night, I was in ArmTV channel. Jason Merlo called me, Marcio, get into the ArmTV, and Ryan was there. Then Jeff, I think Jeff was there.
Okay.
And he was already trying to promote. Then we negotiate. You're in a negotiation, and then I throw the right-handed also, so we can make more money, right?
Yeah, and you're going to pull both arms, right and left.
Yeah, because it's a long trip to Vermont. It's a big trip, actually. It's Canada, but it's a long trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to bring my folks, want to bring my wife, my kids.
Yeah.
It's fun,
That's going to be travel dependent again, though, isn't it? Because Canada's locked down at the moment, as I understand.
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, it's supposed to be in July, but I don't know. Canada is very, very strict.
Yeah.
They are hoping for them to open borders like in the.
Well, let's be honest. There's got to be some concerns about the whole Devon traveling on to the May 28th thing. If that continues, although he'd probably be fine, because I think if you're an elite athlete, you can get some kind of concession.
Yeah, you can say it's for work.
Yeah.
If you could show like any kind of like media or income or possibility, if you could show that it's a work thing, I think that's a loophole that they're getting in on. And these guys are probably getting enough that it's a work thing.
Okay. We got a couple of things here, just a couple of questions for you two guys. So Man's Cave Woodworking's coming with another one as well, and he's just put last question. Who are you 3 rooting for in Michael, Todd, and Devon? Now we know we've had the question who he thinks is going to win answered before by Rob. We're going to start with Marcio. Who would you like to win that match? Who are you rooting for in that matchup?
Don't be politically correct, Marcio. Vote.
No. I like both guys. I mean,
I get that. I understand what
years, and I don't have any. I just want to be a death war. Whoever wins. I think. By the way, I think the match is going to be closer than people think. Very,
I
very
think
close.
so too.
I mean, the fact that Devon, a lot of people saying because he had, health issues at the beginning of the year, but I think he's mentally better. Like, even though he had that problem, but he's more prepared this time. Like in a technical aspect, he's probably more ready. I don't know if it's gonna be time enough to be strong enough, because Michael has been training, forever. Yeah, because he was getting ready for Levon, but I think the level is like it's 50-50 to me.
Interesting that both lads are calling in the, you know, the favors from the crew to try and get him to that place, though. You know, Mask on his way over. Matt's heading over now to train with Devon. I think probably in the air right now, or maybe even arrived. Obviously, Mike's got Todd down there. I know you've spoken, haven't you, about going and doing some training as well with him, Rob? Am I right in that? Somebody was telling me the other day.
Yeah. I've thought about it for, you know, a little bit of, for me, for him, for whatever, but I just, with the borders and everything, I don't know if it's plausible.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's plausible because of the with travel, it's tough.
Very, very, very. We've got one
Yeah.
for Rob here as well. Is Rob going to arm wrestle Eddie Hall? Well, I'll tell you what it is. He was going to arm wrestle Eddie Hall, but Eddie Hall is actually co-hosting the Arnold Classic UK event. Now, it's very likely that myself and Rob would be out at the fight with Thor Bjornsson if that was to come off. Not to mention maybe a few other arm wrestlers, but we'll be obviously in close proximity with Ed when Rob's over here, COVID permitting, travel permitting, at the Arm Wars Phoenix at the Arnold Classic. So we'll see how that goes. And it depends what the situation is with Ed and his fight and so on. But would that happen going forward? Yeah, that could happen. Whether Rob will be able to move his arms after a match with Sasho, if it goes down, I hope it's going to go down. God only knows. But I'm hoping, like Marcio
I'm
said,
going to be moving my arms like this. I'm going to be going.
Well, the
Tell
funny
me.
thing is,
Tell me now after all the hate. Tell me.
Check this out, Jack Balanzi.
Caveat, please.
I think it's impossible to top roll Sasho in the straps, but I see Rob beating him in the hook. You're converting these motherfuckers. Hey?
You know what? I'm not only, here's my game plan. When I walk into a battle strategy, I don't do what other people do. Other people figure out hard and long on how to get away from the worst case scenario. I go in and say, what if shit hits the fan? What if he gets me in that deep knifed hook? What do I do then? I beat him there. And I'm going to.
Listen, I'm
going to let him get there, and I'm going to beat him there. Because you know what? He's not going to beat me in the hand. He's not going to beat me in the wrist. He's not going to beat me in the leverage game. Everyone knows that this is the money. And I did it with Sylvain, and I'll do it with him.
One of the things that are interesting, like sometimes you prepare, you have a strategy to do everything the opposite of your opponent. And sometimes the best way to get him is in his own game.
I'm at it.
I'll tell you my last match with Krasimir. Remember the last match? Because everybody's saying, no, get into the straps, get into the straps. Giannis was telling him, or other people were telling him, get in the straps again. And I'm like, whatever he goes, like, I feel like before they let it go, the match, I wasn't going to be able to top row him. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go. When you go together, you trust yourself, it's different.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, let's go. So
right.
Very interesting.
Because sometimes you try to go, let's say you try the top row, and then
you get a position,
and a little bit open, you're not in the right position, your shoulder away from you. So it's the worst. Sometimes you just gotta test it.
No, well, you know, you'd have to think it's going to go there. Super chat's just coming in is this for Rob? Randy Robbins from Canada. Thanks, mate, for your super chat. Oh, here we go. Neil again. Love the channel. Bless you, mate. Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. Marcio, my fellow South American. Much respect. Rob, my son. Enjoy a beer, a butty, and some money. He's loving you, mate. Love from Canada. Randy, thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Really appreciate that very much, mate. Let's have a look. And Hackers you, Rob filing on all cylinders, going 110% is a scary dude. Well, just before the super chat came in, what I was going to say there on the back of Marcio's comment was, one of the interesting factors is there as well, whether or not he's top rollable in the straps. Okay, so going back to the previous comment and whether or not you believe that Sasho is top rollable in a strap. Whether or not Rob can blast through his hand and drive down would be interesting as well, because we've seen a lot of that from Rob with a lot of people who are known to have very strong hands. So there's a number of ways that match could go down. But what I would say is this. I think we can all expect that we're going to see it in the strap at some point. And so we'll find out whether Sasho is top rollable in the strap. And Rob obviously will make good on his promise, and I'm sure he will. So
what you're going to see is a whole different level. Let me just put it like this. I am going to set a new bar at that weight class.
I'll tell you what.
I'm not coming to win. I'm coming to make an example.
It'll be very, very interesting. If the outcome of that match did go your way, that will be a real mind for a lot of people. So
I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be what I'm going to do. It's going to be how I'm going to do it. And watch. You remember you told me years back when you knew Devin was a bad mofo, was when he landed, when he was going to pull John Brzezinski in the airport, he told you, he said, Neil, watch what I'm about to do. Watch.
Yes,
and I'm telling you, I know that feeling. I already have a bullseye in Bulgaria, and I just needed them to dial it in and lock it. Watch what I do. Watch me. Then call me a liar. I'm not going to beat them. I'm going to beat them everywhere. I'm going to own them.
Interesting stuff. Strength.
Watch.
Thanks, mate. Love these long chats. Chill with a beer and entertain. Fantastic. Thank you, mate. And thanks to all you guys in the chat that have taken the time to tune in. Really do appreciate it very, very much. I'm going to let these guys go now. We've been on here for 2 hours. I want to let them get on. I know Marcio had just literally come from work, but we'll have Marcio on but again. We'll have Rob back on again. Guys, thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it, Marcio. Really appreciate it, Rob. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to all of you guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight's live. And it's midnight.
As always, Neil, Marcio, hey, all the best.
Thank you.
From Massachusetts, buddy.
Next live, ladies and gents. Take it easy, peeps.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.